Yes. Yes, if you like.
So the first question is the first question is about the lecture today and about the difference between three scenarios. The first scenario is buhtan, the second one is fitna, and the third one maybe someone thinks that he's trying to do islah, and in order to do islah, they're trying to describe a situation or to make people aware of a certain uh, details or information that can help, resolve an issue or be careful of something that might happen, and that's centered around an individual. So the difference between buhtan, fitna, and what one thinks that he's trying to do islah, and how the ghiba plays in these three scenarios.
Of course, Buhtan is very clear because Buhtan is to say something which is not true. And many times people think what they say is true because they have not been very sensitive and careful. What they hear, they think it's true, then they say it. Or what they guess, they say it. They spread rumors and they think it is true. Even if it was true, it was not justified. But many times it's not true, but they think it's true. So it's not that these are people who want to tell lies or spread lies, but because they are careless, they say things which are baseless. And we have, this saying that كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ كَذْبًا أَنْ يُحَدِّثَ بِكُلِّ مَا سَمِعَهُ. It's sufficient to be a liar if you say whatever you hear. Even if you hear from good people, it doesn't mean that it is true. Maybe they were themselves careless, or maybe they are not that much sophisticated. They believe what they hear or they think. And sometimes, unfortunately, we see in our community and among mu'mineen that people say things, and the people who say these things are not bad people, but they are not just careful. So this is about buhtan, to say something which is not true, no matter whether you know it is not true or you are careless and you think it's true, or you don't bother. You say, okay, I will pass it on to the next person. He can decide for himself. Say, have you heard this? Okay, why you say, have you heard this? Who gave you the justification to say this? You say, I said, I don't know, maybe it's not true. But still you are spreading a virus. But what about cases that you say something about a mu'min which is true, but maybe there is a responsibility to share it? This is what fuqaha discuss in mustathnayatul ghiba. So ghiba is haram, but there are exceptions, and that is when there is a greater harm coming if we don't say to the person who might be harmed the thing that we know for sure. For example, someone wants to get married with another person, and I am sure that that person has a problem, and this problem is something that is going to make that person later suffer a lot. Sometimes maybe that's a problem, but it doesn't affect their marriage. I don't need to tell him. But if it is something that it's going to harm that person, and that person is going to, for example, after a few months, to divorce, so I need to tell that person, at least when they come and ask you for opinion. Of course, maybe you have to tell him anyway, but at least if they come for mashwara. Someone wants to sell his house, that house has a problem, another person asks for your advice, you are the neighbor. So again, here when they come for mashwara, maybe you need to tell your opinion. But how much to say, how to say, that's another issue. Someone, for example, ادعى nasaban. ليس فيه. For example, someone is not Sayyid. He says to people, I am Sayyid. So if we know that he is not Sayyid, we have to tell people. So there are cases, or for example, another case is when a person has been oppressed. لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. Allah doesn't want you to say publicly, loudly, bad people have done to you, unless the one who is oppressed. Of course, fuqaha here again say, some of them say, you should only say to the people that can help you. For example, you say to the judge, or for example, to an alim who can bring justice, or to the senior member of family that can bring justice. Not to say to everyone or put it on Facebook. But some people say Mazdoom can say it to other people as well, not just the people who can help him. But I think ihtiyat, precaution, requires to say to the people that you need to say to stop the zulm. One of the cases is when we have bad bid'ah in the society, when there are heresies and people start deviating people, misguiding people, then here, if we know something, maybe we need to share. But, and here also, of course, you have to be careful. Not that every person who disagrees with you, you say he's a heretical, he wants to deviate people. No. But if there are people or groups that are doing mischief, and there is a danger that they may deceive people and ruin their faith or ruin their, I don't know, future, then you may need to share this with the people, at least with the people who might be affected. If it is public, then with the public. If it's not public, with the people who might be affected. But for ihtiyat, again, in such cases, consult some muttaqi and learned people, because a big decision. Maybe your case is a good case, but many times if you make things easy for people, then everyone justifies what they do and they say, okay, I had to say this and mention this. So, in reality, if there is a greater harm caused by us being silent, maybe that would be an exception to ghibah. But this reality can be verified with knowledge and taqwa. It's not easy. So sometimes you need to ask for advice and see whether this is a case that you have to say or you should keep silent. Sometimes if you keep silent, you have big responsibility. And it's not always say, I keep silent. But till you have verified that you must say, you can remain silent, but keep inquiring.
Maybe one more question, if there is room for it.
Okay.
So it's related to the Understanding Quran series, the first lecture, in which it talks about the hadith that talks about the different, how the Quran comes in the image of a very beautiful person with visible traits to people at their levels.
Yes.
And how, as the Quran goes from one level to another level, people identify with him.
Yeah.
So the question is the stages are going up in higher status, and if so, how come the angels are higher than the believers or the prophets? And the second one, what makes each group capable only of realizing traits up to their level?
Sorry, each group what?
Each group, like the believers who are not mujahideen, they would think that he's a Muslim, higher characters beyond their limit, beyond their status.
Mhm. Yeah. Of course, such hadiths are trying to explain to us realities that might not be physical realities. It's very complicated issue. So when we want to say Quran has life and understanding, for someone who is in dunya, if we want to explain that, we say it comes like a human being. Because a person who is in dunya, when you say someone has life and understanding, it thinks of a human being. But it doesn't mean that Quran really becomes a human being in the physical sense that we are talking about in dunya. So what we are doing is we are introducing a supernatural, immaterial reality with the language which is limited for the people who have only this limited experience. So this is the first point. The second point is that these are the qualities of people and their level in a general way. Maybe a mu'min is so high in his iman that he's above shuhada. Maybe a shaheed is so high that he's above than angels. Maybe a mu'min is above than angels. These categories are according to the titles, but maybe a person goes beyond that category. Like for example, if we put mothers and fathers in a group, we say, for example, mothers are to be more respected than sisters, or fathers to be more respected than brothers. This is true. But maybe you have a brother that has done so much for you, or a sister who has done so much for you, that he deserves more than what fathers and mothers normally deserve. This doesn't conflict. So, in a general way, al-malaikatul muqarrabun, the angels who are always near and brought nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in rank they are higher than human beings in general. But there can be human beings that outstand from their own category, and they can be compared to the angels and be even higher than angels. That's not conflicting with this reality. And sorry, what was the second part?
How come each they were able
Okay, yes, thank you. Okay. So, we are explaining this point that when Quran comes as a being which has understanding and is very, very beautiful and attractive, because has similarities with these people in each rank, they say, Hada minna. They see the Quran has what they have. But it takes them more serious encounter, they need more serious encounter to realize that the Quran has actually more than them. So Quran is with them, but not limited, or is not from them, but with them. Like for example, maybe imagine an unknown alim goes and doesn't introduce himself, mixes with people. For example, we have about Mullah Hadi Sabzawari rahmatullah alayh, one of our great ulama and philosopher, who has commentary on Sharh Manzum. He himself wrote Manzumah, but he has also commentary on Sharh Manzumah. So he has footnotes also. It is said that at one point in his life, he went to a city, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kerman or somewhere, and he was just serving talabeh as a caretaker, as khadim of madrasa, of the seminary. He didn't tell them that I am an alim. But sometimes when he was working and cleaning, he was hearing this talaba do mubahasa. Like you do mubahasa, inshallah. So this talaba do mubahasa. So he was listening to them, and sometimes listening to them, realizing that they are not doing job, properly. They are not explaining things properly. So sometimes he was telling them, it was difficult for him to remain silent. So sometimes he was correcting them. Maybe little by little they realized that he is not an ordinary person. So initially they thought, oh, he is one of us or even lower than us. He's our khadim. But after some time they realized, no, this man is higher than us. So this hadith about Quran is like that. That when they see the Quran from distance, means when they have not had full encounter with the Quran, they say, Haza minna. But when the Quran comes and passes by them, so they look at the Quran from behind also. So instead of having one encounter, they have more encounter. They realize, no, Quran has what they have, but has something also more.